All right. None dare call it conspiracy. Chapter 2, part 1. With Colin and Reese. I will begin. Chapter 2, Socialism, Royal Road to Power for the Super Rich. Everyone knows that Adolf Hitler existed. No one disputes that. The terror and destruction that this madman inflicted upon the world are universally recognized. Hitler came from a poor family which had absolutely no social position. He was a high school dropout, and nobody ever accused him of being cultured. Yet this man tried to conquer the world. During his early career, he sat in a cold garret and poured onto paper his ambitions to rule the world.
Isn't that cool how some of the smartest and most powerful people are like high school dropouts? Obviously, this is a horrible person, but even like a lot of great musicians and great philosophers and writers haven't even gone to school. So
most people that decide at an early age that they're going to be different and try to be greater than the average man, or try to do something different.
They don't need to like follow what everyone else is doing.
They see real quick that high school is just for the commoner, for the simpleton. Yes. But let's see what they have to say about it.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, we know that a man named Vladimir Ilyich Lenin also existed. Like Hitler, Lenin did not spring from a family of social lions. The son of a petty bureaucrat, Lenin, who spent most of his adult life in poverty, has been responsible for the deaths of tens of millions of your fellow human beings and the enslavement of nearly 1 billion more. Like Hitler, Lenin sat up nights in a dank garret scheming how he could conquer the world. We know that too. Is it not theoretically possible that a billionaire could be sitting not in a garret but in a penthouse in Manhattan, London, or Paris and dream the same dream as Lenin and Hitler? You'll have to admit that it is theoretically possible. Julius Caesar, a wealthy aristocrat, did, and such a man might form an alliance or association with other like-minded men, might he not? Caesar did. These men would be superbly educated, command immense social prestige, and be able to pool astonishing amounts of money to carry out their purposes. These are advantages that Hitler and Lenin did not have. It is difficult for the average individual to fathom such perverted lust for power. The typical person of whatever nationality wants only to enjoy success in his job, to be able to afford a reasonably high standard of living, complete with leisure and travel. He wants to provide for his family in sickness and in health, and to give his children a sound education. His ambition stops there. He has no desire to exercise power over others, to conquer other lands or peoples, to be a king. He wants to mind his own business and enjoy life. Since he has no lust for power, it is difficult for him to imagine that there are others who march to a far different drum. But we must realize that there have been Hitlers and Lenins and Stalins and Caesars and Alexander the Greats throughout history. Why should we assume that no such men today with a perverted lust? Why should we assume that there are no such men today with perverted lusts for power? And if these men happen to be billionaires, is it not possible that they would use men like Hitler and Lenin as pawns to seize power for themselves?
Makes perfect sense. A poor guy that really
who was born with this drive to be something different and be something great.
And a rich guy also, and then he sees the poor guy as like jail bait or jail cover or whatnot. Like, so the rich guy on the top, funds the poor guy with the right mindset and the right motives. And I don't know, is that like a disguise, or it's just like, oh, well, we'll just give this guy money since he wants to do what we want to do, type of thing, or?
Well, I mean, it's just the nature. It's just how they work. They're never going to be the ones who are saying that they're trying to do this, but they'll take
their money and their actions will do it. They will never say
individual, and yeah, we'll see. But it's this will to power. I don't know much about Lenin. I tend to think most of his stuff about communism was written in the spirit of trying to find a way for man to live in a good community with himself.
Yeah.
But that in itself, trying to write that stuff, that's kind of, you're trying to be powerful by even teaching people how to be peaceful. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if you can do it the best, it's a very powerful thing. And like Hitler, we don't know what his motivations were, but we know that he was very charismatic, and he would stop at nothing. There was nothing going to get in his way of his goal.
Can-do attitude.
Right. So, but from history, we just learned the buck stops there. Okay, Hitler was a madman, decided to do this. Lenin was a madman, wrote this. Stalin was a madman, did this.
And Alexander the Great, and they're just saying people in the past, and now they're people that in power today. The big social and political faces that are pretty much the equivalent of who these people are now, or were then, I guess.
Right. Let's keep going. Indeed, difficult as this is to believe, such is the case. Like Columbus, we are faced with the task of convincing you that the world is not flat, as you have been led to believe all your life, but instead it is round. We are going to present evidence that what you call communism is not run from Moscow or Peking, but is an arm of a bigger conspiracy run from New York, London, and Paris. The man at the apex of the movement. Hello. Hey, what's that? Reading a book with Reese on camera, so I gotta let you go quick. Do you want to practice tonight? Here or your place? No, I would play, but Reese is down to play. Okay, I will text you in about half an hour. Okay. Bye.
Yeah, we can edit all the stuff out. Do a long
She wants to.
I have another question. I don't know if I'll ask you off air. Sorry. Keep going where you were.
No, ask on there.
This is actually embarrassing. So please skip it.
You not know who somebody is?
No, it's actually okay. Well, let's just make fun of who I am. Apex. Explain to me that phrase. I don't know. I've heard it a lot.
The apex of power. The apex is the top of something.
That's what that means. So there's this.
Where 2 points meet is an apex.
So that could also be the bottom of the triangle as well. There's a music group that they're electronic. They're called the Apex Twins, and now it makes a lot of sense. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, we have to edit a lot of that.
Okay. So, what we call communism is not run from Moscow or Peking, but is an arm of a bigger conspiracy run from New York, London, or Paris. The men at the apex of this movement are not communists in the traditional sense of that term. They feel no loyalty to Moscow or Peking. They are loyal only to themselves and their undertaking, and these men certainly do not believe in the claptrap pseudo-philosophy of communism. They have no intention of dividing their wealth. Socialism is a philosophy which conspirators exploit, but in which only the naive believe. That is very important. Socialism, communism, if you're thinking about an equal distribution of all wealth, like if you think that's ever going to work in a government, it won't. It is just something only naive people believe in it, and smart people take advantage of it. Because the smart people are always going to exist, and they're never going to distribute their wealth evenly. That's the bottom line.
No, why would you if you could continue to be more rich and more powerful?
If you're smart enough to outsmart somebody out of their portion, why would you voluntarily give it to them? I mean, me and Reese probably would, but these people at the top don't.
No.
All right, one more minute. We're going through one more page. Just how finance capitalism is used as the anvil and communism as the hammer to conquer the world will be explained in this book. The concept that communism is but an arm of a larger conspiracy has become increasingly apparent throughout the author's journalistic investigations. He has had the opportunity to interview privately 4 retired officers who spent their careers high in military intelligence. Much of what the author knows he learned from them. And the story is known to several thousand others. High military intelligence circles are well aware of this network. In addition, the author has interviewed 6 men who have spent considerable time as investigators for the congressional committees. In 1953, one of these men, Norman Dodd, headed the Reese Committee's investigation of tax-free foundations. When Mr. Dodd began delving into the role of international high finance in the world revolutionary movement, the investigation was killed on orders from the Eisenhower-occupied White House. According to Mr. Dodd, it is permissible to investigate the radical bomb throwers in streets, but when you begin to trace their activities back to their origins in the legitimate world, the political Iron Curtain slams down. This is so important. So we're going to stop here.